Mars is fire energy. This is the highest form of fire energy in the solar system, other than, of course, the sun. So the sun would be attributed to air of fire, and Mars is just pure fire of fire. So when you're looking at the Aries sign, Aries is just fire of fire. It's a blast of Mars. So Muladhara chakra, there is a fire energy component to it. In the Eastern tradition, it's displayed with the 4 petals and it's red in color. But this is Earth chakra, okay? Earth is not fire energy. Earth is 100% Saturn, and Saturn energetically would be air of Earth. So there is an air component to Saturn. Anything related to the elements is not anything I got from books. This is all learned knowledge and experience knowledge through ritual invocation. I've done a whole lot of rituals in my life. From ceremonial magic, I've worked with voodoo, Hindu magic, witchcraft. I was a ritual junkie back in the day because I wanted to experience the energies of the solar system through ritual, and that is the best way to experience it. And so when I give you these elemental attributions, this is stuff I know to be 100% true. So you have Saturn being the first chakra, and then the second chakra being Jupiter. Jupiter is the highest expression of the water element. Unconditional love, mercy, compassion, these are all components of the water element. And then the third chakra, this is your willpower. This is solar plexus. This is the fire element. Fire is Mars. Now, you could say there is a component of the sun. Yeah, there is, but the sun is the source of light in this solar system, and all the planets orbiting around the sun are different vibrational frequencies of that light. So you have the 7 rays, which is spoken of in Theosophy. So these are the 7 rays, which is the 7 chakric colors. And then these 7 chakric colors are the 7 colors of the rainbow. So now you see the connection. So when you're hearing in Tibetan Buddhism, the rainbow body, we're essentially talking about the light body. You have the central nervous system, which is the brain and the spinal cord. And then you have the peripheral nervous system, which is the sympathetic and the parasympathetic, and the autonomic nervous system. That's the passive part of the nervous system that regulates your breathing and heart rate. So things that you technically don't have control of, although it's been proven in recent years that in deep meditation, you can control that through regulating your mind. You can actually control like the speed of your heart rate, and you can control the automatic processes of the body. This is how yogis perform these incredible feats. The parasympathetic is the water element. The sympathetic is the fire element. That's fight or flight. You're trying to come out of the fight or flight nervous system. So people that have a lot of anxiety and they have nervousness and just feel on edge, their sympathetic nervous system is turned on too much. So by stimulating your vagus nerve, you're actually activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part that calms you down. So you tune into the water element as opposed to the fire element. Because if you're just tuned into the fire element all the time, I mean, sure, you can get a lot done, but you're going to be under stress 24/7. So you need to find a balance between the two. The central nervous system regulates everything through these ganglia in the spine, which connects these plexuses to your organs, and they're regulating your organs. That's why Chinese medicine, acupuncture works so well, because acupuncture works with the soft nervous tissue, which has energy lines and things that are running through it. Now, this is different than the nadis of the light body. The light body nadis are on a more subtle body level, like light body level, whereas when you're working with the meridians of the Chinese medicine system, you're working with more the physical body, but also the lower astral, which would be the etheric body. Because all these things connect, right? As above, so below. So when you work with acupuncture, you're affecting this system, which now as above, so below affects these other things, and it affects your organs, okay? The Dragon Mysteries, we're talking about the Kundalini energy. Why is it that over time, the Chinese emperor was the Dragon King? This has been now for as long as these dynasties have been going on in China. It's because the Dragon King represents the Kundalini awakened king, kind of like a priest king that's meant to lead his people. It's the exact same concept. In Egypt, the pharaoh is a god king, right? The original pharaohs, I believe, were extraterrestrials. You have Akhenaten with the elongated head, his son Tutankhamun, elongated head. So they're hybrids, they're extraterrestrials. But then that lineage was passed on to pharaohs coming after, who passed on that bloodline. When it comes to ancient teachings, a lot of it has to do with bloodlines. And that's why you hear Illuminati bloodlines. And when you're looking at the kings and queens of old, hundreds of years ago, before they figured out that intermarrying is actually creating birth defects, they always used to intermarry. Like King Tut's wife was a sister okay? Because they're trying to preserve the original bloodlines. And I believe the original bloodlines came from extraterrestrials that had a say, and they essentially created us into who we are. We're basically hybrids of extraterrestrials and humans, the human part being animals, but we have all of these inner functions. So I always say we're gods that shit, okay? So we have all these godlike abilities that we can tune into, but we still have certain activities that we need to do daily, like shit, eat, drink, have sex. These are all animalistic activities, okay? That people say, well, it's your ego and you got to get over that. It's like, yeah, but you don't get over that. You don't extinguish those desires to have those things because you are part animal. The idea is to control that. The idea is to bring light to who you are in the inside, being this extraterrestrial, this godlike. And when I say extraterrestrials, I'm not talking little ET aliens with like green aliens and ET go home. I'm talking interdimensional beings of light that can travel through consciousness. Our ancestors are from different constellations. I believe that these different extraterrestrials from different constellations, they actually came down to Earth over time, different ones. They populated, they left their seed, they had sex with human women, and this is actually in the Bible, it's in the Old Testament. And that's how they created the original race of giants, which were most likely the Atlanteans, spoken of by Plato. And that's the very reason why the flood happened. The Great Flood, the story of Noah and the Ark, all of that happened because there was a race of extraterrestrials. They were hybrids. They were literally giants. I'm not saying like giant metaphorically. They were literally giants, okay? There's evidence all over the Americas. There's thousands of excavated giant remains. All of it's been actually kept down by the Smithsonian Museum because they're in charge of giving you part of the historical narrative of what they want you to think and where you come from. But in fact, where you come from is a lot more esoteric. It's a lot more mystical, and it's a lot more interesting. And it's also the truth. It's the truth of who you are. You are an interdimensional being of light. You are half extraterrestrial. Your ancestors are not from this planet. I've been tracking the bouncing ball for years now, going to all these ancient sites from Egypt to Peru. We went to Turkey last year, to England, to Mexico, all over the place. The pyramids and all these different structures are actual evidence that we were making not only contact with them, but we were trying to accommodate them. Okay, I believe that the purpose of the original pyramids in Giza is actually to channel and harness earth energy, to send it out so that you can actually power spaceships that would come and harness this energy and then go and continue doing their thing. And I'm talking real spaceships. Like if you look at Teotihuacan, Teotihuacan is an ancient spaceport. And I was there with Emily and I documented some new discoveries there that I will release in future books. Now, this is an inside sneak peek into who we are, where we come from. We are ancestrally extraterrestrials. And the idea of awakening this Kundalini energy is to awaken the part of yourself that's extraterrestrial consciousness, that's not bound by this body. It transcends time and space, and it's everywhere at the same time. That's what cosmic consciousness is. Shakti meeting Shiva. Shiva represents, it's not a coincidence that the Hindu gods are all blue. We're talking different extraterrestrial races that were here, and whatever race came to India, they were one type of extraterrestrial and they left behind all this ancient knowledge. Okay, and then when you look at the extraterrestrials from Egypt, that would be ones coming from the Orion constellation. And that's how we get variety. We have variety in the different races and different skin color and all of that. We do come from different extraterrestrials. Blonde people with blue eyes are from the Arcturian constellation, the tall whites. One thing that they all had in common, these extraterrestrials, are they were all significantly taller. They usually had elongated shaped heads, which by the way is because their transpersonal chakras were connected. As I'm talking about causal chakra being here, if you add the elongated head component, it means that your entire transpersonal tree is now activated, which we need to activate manually by awakening the Kundalini because we're born half animals.